Donald Trump wants a weaker US dollar, but unfortunately his policies are pushing the dollar higher, and that's costing you money. What's going on? First, why does Trump want a weaker dollar? It's real simple. If the US dollar was cheaper, lower in price, then goods and services produced here in the United States would be less expensive to international consumers, and we would get more trade. Our trade deficit between China, Mexico, and Canada is one of Trump's biggest issues. So reducing the value of the dollar would improve the manufacturing and service sector here in the United States, reducing the deficit. But unfortunately, the deficit from the government. We have a huge deficit with the tax cuts that are likely to come to corporations. We're likely to see an additional $4.5 trillion added to the deficit. In order to get consumers, institutions to come in and buy all that debt, you have to lower price. And by lowering price on debt instruments, that means higher interest rates. The Federal Reserve sets and targets the overnight interest rate charged to banks. From there, there's no interference from inside organizations with the government to push interest rates one way or the other. It's all dependent on the market. With all that debt, with long-term interest rates being driven by the US federal deficit, this pushes interest rates higher. Interest rates on your mortgages, car loans, credit cards, and student loans, the majority of those will be priced higher because of the government's deficit. So the tax cuts are actually going to drive the dollar higher simply because when you look at, say, Japan, where you can borrow $100 billion out of Japan, sell the Japanese yen, buy US dollars, deposit it into a bank account here in the United States for 4.5%, you would earn 3% for doing nothing. Trust me, there are massive institutions that are doing this every single day. This becomes a vicious feedback mechanism. It pushes the dollar higher, harming our trade deficit. Our deficit from the government continues to rise because of this, and that makes your expenses more expensive. These interest rates are going to continue to push higher, and it's because of the deficit. Trump's not going to get his lower dollar to help out manufacturing and reduce the trade deficit between international countries. Instead, he's like to erode the manufacturing base here in the United States with the tax cuts and, of course, tariffs. Make sure to follow my Substack to keep in touch with what's going on with the economy. See you in the next video.